All right, so continuing on here, we are on the C from RMBC, also known as copy. As I mentioned previously, we're going to go through some different examples, and this one's going to be for a Biz Opp offer I wrote back in, 2014 during my Alliance Publishing days. It never really saw the light of day, this offer, but I actually think it's pretty cool concept, cool offer. I like it. So what I'm going to do is I've got it here on the left, and then I've got the copy outline that we just went through on the right. So I'm going to kind of go through the different sections of the sales letter with you, and we'll kind of look at where it follows the outline and a few places where it doesn't, and I'll make some points of that, right? So the lead that I have for this one starts here. So across the country, people of all ages, abilities, and education levels are quitting their jobs and doubling or tripling their annual incomes in the process. They're doing it by exploiting an unfair but completely legal business trick, something first developed by a brilliant professor at Harvard Business School, and that until now was only shared with his golden cufflink wearing students so that they could copy what the richest businessmen in the world do and make as much money from as little work as humanly possible. Once you know what this trick is, you can begin using it immediately to make $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more in extra income each month for the rest of your life. And best of all, this cash-generating business doesn't require you to invest a single penny, hire a single employee, learn any complex new skills or concepts, or even leave the comfort of your own home. In fact, if you have just 5 hours per week, an internet connection, and know how to send an email, you'll be amazed by just how easy it is to make a minimum of $36,000 extra per year using the method I'm about to share with you. Just like Alvin Harris of Palm Desert, California, who writes, "When I first came across your website, I was very wary. There are a lot of get-rich-quick scams on the internet, and I've become conditioned to always keep my guard up. After watching your video and using the concepts you taught me inside, however, I'm happy to say that this is 100% legit. What you're showing people inside is how to set up a real, profitable, and viable business. It's something that I truly believe anyone can use, and the profits I'm personally seeing are astounding." And Justin Carr of Pueblo, Colorado says, "You know how I can tell this business trick really did come from Harvard Business School? The fact that it's so easy to use. Those fat cat investment bankers and golden parachute carrying CEOs are obsessed with making as much money as they can from as little work as possible. So it makes total sense that they would have come up with something like this. For me personally, I spend about 5 hours per week using this simple system, and typically I see a return of around $7,500 per month for my efforts. I'm not sure how you can beat this." Justin and Alvin are just two of the more than 14,954 Americans who have taken advantage of the business secret I'll be sharing inside of this brief but life-changing presentation. In the next 3 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this insanely simple money-generating system works, plus the explicit steps you can start taking today to be bringing in $3,000 or more in monthly income as soon as tomorrow. All right, so let's go back to our lead. That was the lead, right? Did we call it the problem? Not really, actually, right? I think that, maybe I could have. I don't know if I would have done it first here, but, it could have been like, once you know what this trick is, you'll never have to spend another day worried about where the money comes from or arguing with your spouse over money or feeling like you just aren't providing for your family even though you work more hours in the day than most people would think is humanly possible. And indeed, you can begin to immediately take this method and make. So I could have put the problem here, and I didn't. So I think that is one flaw. Promising a solution to the pain point, promising to save time and money, definitely, right? So quitting your jobs, doubling and tripling annual income in the process. Copy what the richest businessmen in the world do and make as much money from as little work as humanly possible. Immediately make $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more in extra income each month for the rest of your life. Best of all, this cash-sharing business secret doesn't require you to invest a single penny, hire a single employee, learn any complex new skills or concepts, or even leave the comfort of your own home. In fact, if you have just 5 hours per week, an internet connection, and know how to send an email, you'll be amazed by just how easy it is to make a minimum of $36,000 extra per year using the method I'm about to show you. So, promising a solution, making more monthly income, and just takes 5 hours per week. You don't have to invest a single penny. You don't have to hire an employee. You don't have to take the time to learn new skills. So it does a very good job of that. it doesn't tease the emotional discovery story, right? And if you remember, we looked at this one in the brief, and I think, there's a good emotional discovery story there about this stuff, but we don't have a good one. So I think that's like an issue. I mean, it could have been like, where would I put that? Let's see here. In fact, if you have 5 hours per week, internet connection, know how to send an email, you'll be amazed by just how easy it is to make a minimum of $36,000 extra per year using the method I'm about to show you. Like, I personally discovered this method after a heated argument with my wife over a shopping spree we couldn't afford, nearly led to our divorce. But today things are so much better, and it's not just for us. It's for people across America, just like Alvin Harris of Palm Desert. So I think just having that line there would have made this copy better, because then I could have told the story. I also could have teased it at the very top, like, hey, my name is, whatever the guy's name is, Garth, I think. Garth Conway. Hey, I could have, hey, my name is Garth Conway, and inside this video I want to share how an explosive argument with my wife that nearly led to a divorce after she spent $300 to buy a retail luxury handbag that we couldn't afford actually led me to a income generating breakthrough, something that people of all ages, abilities, and education levels are now using to quit their jobs and double or triple their annual income in the process. And the way I did it, and these people are doing it, is so I could have put it up here as well, and that also would have probably been better, but I didn't. The contrarian nature of the mechanism, it's not like a super complex thing, but it is, obviously, like, the contrary part here is like you don't have to spend a bunch of time to do this, right? And the idea of, like, I guess, this is the rich people copying what businessmen do to make as much money in as little time as possible. So it's a little bit contrarian, because we're not saying that the rich business people spend a ton of time doing making money. They actually spend less time. So there's a bit of contrarian aspect to it here. Working in fascinations, which again I described in the previous video on copy, not like perfect, but you do get little ones here, right? Next few minutes I'm going to show you exactly how this insanely simple money generating system works, plus the explicit steps you can start taking today to be bringing in $3,000 or more in monthly income as soon as tomorrow. So yeah, I kind of have fascinations here, but it could have been way stronger if I had, done something like, plus like the strange, Harvard Komodo method that helps the strange Komodo method that Harvard stole from some of Japan's most rich businessmen, and that allows them to generate massive amounts of income even as they're sipping tea in their gardens, right? Something like that would have been a better fascination. So if I were going to redo this offer today, I would be putting a couple fascinations here towards the end, because I want to hook them in and get them curious so they keep reading. Briefly addressing skepticism. This does get done. It gets done more in the testimonials, right? How I can tell this business trick really did come from Harvard Business School. So we're kind of addressing business skepticism there. And then, right, when I first came across your website, I was very wary. There are a lot of get-rich-quick scams on the internet, and I've been conditioned to keep my guard up. But this was legit. So we totally addressed skepticism. Credibility builders, for sure. We mentioned Harvard Business School. That's the big one. So Harvard's kind of the credibility builder there. Qualifiers, who this works for, we do that very well. I mean, it's right from the very beginning. All ages, abilities, education levels, right, are quitting their jobs. If you have 5 hours per week, an internet connection, and know how to send an email, you'll be amazed at how easily you can get results. So we do have the qualifiers here, and then including a few brief testimonials. As we went over, we do have these, and you'll notice that it doesn't talk about the product, right? It's watching the video and using the concepts that are taught, using the simple system, but we're not saying what the product is in the testimonials. So that's the lead right there, and then we're going to start in the background story in a second here. All right, so we're going to move on to the background story, right? So who I am, credibility builders when appropriate. We're telling the story about me or someone close to me was just like you and in pain. Here's the emotional story about it. We want to talk about how traditional solutions and advice not working. There's going to be a trigger event, a problem or pain point escalated to where avatar realized something must change. They started searching for truth and answers, and this is where they stumble onto the unique mechanism of the problem and solution. So let's go. Hey, my name is Garth Conway. I'm 55 years old and I live outside of Jacksonville, Florida. Up until 2013, I worked as a groundskeeper for one of Northwest Florida's better-known golf courses. And like a lot of people out there who are in their 50s, I'd reached a point in my life where I desperately wanted to retire. Except there was simply no chance of that happening anytime soon. I'm not going to say that I was broke. The truth was I was doing okay. My job paid the bills. I got 2 weeks of paid vacation each year, and I could afford to buy groceries and put gas in my car usually. Now, I'm not sure if you're in the same boat as I was back then, or if you're struggling more than that right now and find yourself worrying about where the money will come from to make your next car payment, but it doesn't really matter. Because regardless of your current situation, I'm pretty sure you can relate when I say that my 9 to 5 felt like a screeching daily grind and my gears were slowly getting stuck. Haven't you ever wanted more out of your life? I know I did. There are 52 weeks in the year, and I was spending 50 of those weeks at a job I was sick of, working tirelessly for a boss I didn't particularly like, and having zero control over how I spent my time. I'd come home exhausted each day and struggle to give my wife and children the attention they deserved, and because my income was so limited, my family was never able to travel anywhere too exotic, never able to go eat anywhere too nice, and never able to shop at the full-price department stores at the mall. Instead, we lived our life on a strict budget. My wife and I were constantly making sacrifices, like skipping our family vacations so that my youngest daughter, Lily, could go to her school trip. Like skipping our family vacations so that my youngest daughter, Lily, could go on her school trip to Disney World, or not going out to the new restaurant my wife wanted to try so my son Michael could have a new uniform for his baseball team. And the bottom line was this: I was tired of it. Tired of having to wake up at the crack of dawn each morning to drive to a job I didn't like. Tired of my jerk boss criticizing me simply so he could feel better about himself and the fact that he secretly hated his job too. Tired of getting paid just enough to get by. And tired of the fights my wife and I would have about where the money was going and how much we could spend. Until finally one day in April, mid-2013, it all came to an explosive head. So let's pause there for a second, right? But we have the credibility, or who he is. We're talking about how he was just like you, he was in pain. We haven't done the full emotional story, but some of it. We don't really talk about traditional solutions, but we've talked about how the traditional mode of life just wasn't really working for this guy. The traditional American dream, the job, the paycheck, it just wasn't really working, right? But now we're going to get to the trigger event, where the problem or pain point escalates to where the avatar realizes something must change. Okay, so I just gotten home from work and came inside my house to find several bags of clothing sitting on the kitchen counter. They were from Marshall's, which, as you probably know, is a closeout store, one where they buy the items that no one bought at full-price department stores and sell them for a big discount. A big discount or not, my wife still had spent $321 on the bags of clothes that were sitting there in front of me, and when she walked into the kitchen, smiling and ready to greet me, I completely lost it. "What's wrong with you?" I shouted. "You can't possibly spend money like this. We can't afford it. How could you possibly think this is okay?" Well, my wife immediately began sobbing and ran to the bedroom where she slammed the door and turned the lock. I felt like a monster, and it's embarrassing for me even to share this part of the story with you. But as you'll see in a second, it actually links directly to the discovery of that profit-generating secret I want to share with you in this video. So anyways, once the initial anger subsided, I realized that I completely crossed the line, and thank goodness my wife is a forgiving woman, because after a bit of pleading, she did unlock the door and let me come apologize to her. Real quick note, by the way, obviously this is the trigger event in the emotional story, which could have been teased in the lead, but one really important thing is you'll notice how I'm relaying this back to the reader all the time, right? Like, I'm like, I don't know if you've ever been this way, or I mentioned Marshall's, right? Which, as you probably know, is a closeout store. And then, even once I tell the emotional story, I pause to be like, yo, I felt terrible about this, but as you'll see, it actually links directly to the discovery of that profit journey secret I want to share with you in this video. So I'm actually, I'm reminding them why they care about the story, because the story is going to lead them to the opportunity to solve their pain point or problem and make money, right? Cool. Okay, so anyways, he's apologized to his wife. She said she was really sorry, but that the stuff she bought at Marshall's had been an extra 50% off. That, in other words, even though the name brand dress, skirts, and purse she'd purchased had already been discounted initially, this closeout store had discounted them another 50% after that. Or in other words, to show you what I mean, the Marc Jacobs handbag she bought regularly retails at Nordstrom for $300. Nobody bought it, so Nordstrom sold it to Marshall's. Marshall's then priced the bag at $130, but because no one had bought it still, Marshall's then cut the price in half again until my wife bought it for $65. Putting myself in my wife's shoes, I could understand how that kind of bargain was hard to pass up. And I couldn't help but remember a fundamental truth that my father, who sold appliances, had told me decades ago. People love a deal. And combined with that realization that Dad was right, and the guilt I felt as my wife looked me dead in the eyes and said, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Garth. I just wanted something nice for once. Something that would make me feel good, feel confident, something I could show off to my girlfriends and have them be envious. I just wanted a taste of something nice for one time. Something inside of me snapped. But I don't mean in a bad way, I mean in a determined way. So back to this breaking point, this is where he realizes something's got to change, right? I mean, it's the whole story, but I really like this copy here because it makes any guy who's ever been in this position just feel like such a piece of shit, right? Because you're like, oh, dude, like, yeah, his wife just wanted a little taste of something better and he couldn't provide it. And, like, you can relate to that. I don't care, and frankly, I don't care how much money you make, unless you're like a billionaire. You always feel like, most people always feel like it's never enough. And, like, even, if it's like they take their family on a 2-week 5-star vacation, they feel like they wish it could be 4 weeks, but they have to go to work. I mean, this is a universal feeling. We always tend to feel like, it's not good enough. And so we're just putting that real dagger right there. I love that copy right there. I'm proud of myself reading this because I really like it. But again, this is the trigger event, right? Something snapped. Because right then and there, I decided that I was going to do something to change my family's financial position forever, that I was going to start giving my wife the things in life she deserved, that I was going to make her proud to have stood by me for all those years, even as we struggled, even as we'd constantly lived on a shoestring budget, and even as she'd constantly heard me tell her no when it came to almost any purchase she wanted to make, from remodeling the kitchen to simply replacing the heater. So based on that, right, now he's going to search for truth and answers, which kind of goes back to also traditional solutions and advice not working. So that night I got my computer and started searching for business ideas. I knew that I needed something that didn't require much or any money to get started with, that I needed to be something I could do in my spare time because I certainly couldn't risk leaving my 9-to-5 yet, and it needed to be something that didn't require a ton of technical know-how or knowledge since I didn't have a college degree and had never really learned much about running a business. My immediate hunch was that using the internet would be my best bet, mostly because it seemed like every day in the news there was some new pimply-nosed kid barely out of diapers who'd made millions of dollars with some website or app he'd created. And if these kids can do it, why the hell can't I thought. So I began writing down website ideas until I had several full pages. Some of those ideas were pretty darn good, but I quickly ran into a few major problems. First of all, I had zero idea how to make a website, and when I looked around to see about hiring someone, I found that most people wanted to charge me $5,000 to build a website or an app for me, which was money I simply didn't have. Plus, even if I could have afforded it, I found out pretty fast that there was way more to running a profitable website or app than I'd expected, including all kinds of technical stuff like setting up web servers, building advertising networks, even implementing payment processing portals. I didn't know how to do any of that, and frankly, I just didn't have the time to learn. So I kept searching, kept looking for a business opportunity that made sense for me, something that I could really do on my own terms and that didn't require a ton of money or time. One interesting option I kept running into was these home-based business ads you see all over the web. The ones where they say you can make $10,000 per month part-time working from home. Well, as a quick aside, I now know that you really can make that much money working from home part-time, and I'm going to show you how to do it in about 90 seconds from now, but it's definitely not by responding to one of those ads. Trust me, I actually tried. Again, a quick note, right? We're going through the story. We're going through how traditional solutions and advice wasn't working, and he's searching for truth and answers. But we're still going to remind them, okay, why should you care about this? Well, I'm going to show you why. This is, the big promise, the big reveal is coming. We're going to keep reminding the reader, and we're telling them that explicitly. Okay, so anyway, within days, my inbox was getting blown up with some of the spammiest emails you could possibly imagine, all from self-proclaimed millionaires who said they'd teach me to get rich quick if I sent them $500. Plus, after I did even more research, I found out that generally for that $500, the businesses these people were talking about required you to spend 60, 70, even 80 hours a week either selling crappy products to people who didn't want them or doing mind-numbing data entry where your pay works out to $6 an hour. Oh, and by the way, those are just the opportunities where there's even any job at all, because the majority are just scams where the advertiser says he'll help you find a work-at-home opportunity, then disappears once you pay them. So anyway, all this is to say that despite the promise I made to myself, after a few months of research, I was starting to have my doubts. I thought maybe I just didn't have it in me. Maybe I should just accept that we'd always be living on a bare-bones budget for the rest of our lives, and maybe I should just cross my fingers and hope Social Security still existed by the time I reached 70. But then one insanely humid afternoon in August, I stumbled upon the secret that changed everything, and it's about to change everything for you too. Let me explain right now. Okay, so you see where we did the background story? Who am I? Yeah, The emotional story, yeah. Traditional solutions and advice not working, yeah. The trigger event, yep. Search for truth and answers, yep. And then basically now is where he, stumbles upon the unique mechanism of the problem and the unique mechanism of the solution. So I'm going to pause this real quick and then circle back on it. All right, so let's go back here, right? Okay, let me explain it right now. So again, now we're going to find, he's going to discover the real cause of kind of the problem and then the real cause of the solution. This one's a little unique. It's like, the problem is, it's hard to find ways to make money online, I guess. Or it's hard to find ways to make money like with a side hustle, right? Let's just look at this and we'll kind of see how this matches up with the mechanism of the problem and mechanism of the solution, right? So I was in front of my computer once again, this time Googling businesses that don't require any money to start. It seemed like every single search result I got was another advertisement for some work-at-home scheme, and I was becoming increasingly frustrated that it was hard to find any honest information out there. On the 5th or 6th page, however, I saw an article that caught my eye. It was from the prestigious Harvard Business School, and when I clicked the link to the article and started to read, it felt like someone had given me the code to a massive cash-filled bank vault. Inside the article, they were talking about something called arbitrage. Now, I'd heard of this term before, but until then, I could never could have told you what it actually meant. As I continued to scroll through the article, however, it suddenly became very obvious that this was one of the most powerful, fascinating, and underutilized business concepts in existence. So let me go ahead and give you the definition of arbitrage. The simultaneous purchase and sale of an asset in order to profit from a difference in price. It is a trade that profits by exploiting price differences of identical or similar financial instruments on different markets or in different forms. Sound complex? I agree. And the article I was reading, which was clearly only meant to be read by other Harvard Business School students, was pretty technical as well. In general, they were talking about buying and selling different stocks, commodities, and financial instruments, all things I knew nothing about and that sounded like they would cost me a lot of money, which I didn't have. But as I was reading, I was struck with a really interesting idea. What if I could take the idea of arbitrage and apply it to the world of retail products? Let me explain. Okay, so you'll note that I gave them the complex definition of arbitrage, and I acknowledge, right? Yeah, does that sound complex? I agree. And it was talking about kind of what it is, but then it's what if I could apply it to retail? Now, so really part of maybe the mechanism of the problem is that there is this thing called arbitrage out there, but it's complicated, so most people don't know how it works. I mean, it's kind of a weird one. It's a problem of your pain point, but it's kind of a problem is that there are solutions that may exist, but maybe you don't know how they they're complex, so it's hard for you to know how they work, right? Again, this is a little bit different. We'll do a health example for a sales letter that you'll notice it's going to be a lot more kind of, I guess, straightforward. But yeah. Anyway, let me remember what I said about how closeout stores like Marshall's work. They buy all of the items that didn't sell at a full price department store and then sell them at their store for a discount. It's a win-win for everyone involved. The department store will get some money for the item that didn't sell. Marshall sells the discounted item for a profit, and the consumer gets a big discount over what they normally would have paid at the full price department store. It's a cool concept and it works for everyone involved. But as I really started doing some research, I realized that big retailers like Marshall's were just a drop in the bucket. Across the country, and also on the internet, there are millions of closeout retailers in existence, businesses that buy items that either don't sell at their original price or that the manufacturer made too many of, and then sell them to the public at a huge discount. Everyone from dollar stores to online retailers use this business model, and it leads to billions of dollars in annual profits for everyone involved. I use involved a lot, but it's fine. But here's the coolest part, the part that's going to make you a lot of money. These closeout retailers are constantly looking for more discount products to sell, while the retailers and manufacturers are constantly looking for closeout retailers who will buy their discounted products. And what I realized was that if I simply could position myself as a middleman, someone who linked buyers to sellers, I would be providing a huge valuable service to both sides, one that I was willing to bet they would happily pay me a commission for performing. So I got to work. Okay, so actually, yeah, I'm a dummy because I think, the mechanism of the problem being about arbitrage actually kind of is part of it. That's probably more the solution. So really the problem is, I don't know. I'm thinking through this, right? Because it's kind of like retailers want to sell to liquidators and liquidators want to sell to retailers. But they need, somebody needs to connect them. That's kind of the problem and the solution, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's curious. I think you think about this as you're watching this video about the mechanism of the problem. And I guess it's like, actually, I go back to arbitrage. I think arbitrage is it. We're really just explaining that in both cases, but basically it's the idea of like, there's like a way to connect these people or a way to like value from arbitrage, but the problem is it sounds complicated, but really it's actually simple. I think I would stick with that as being the mechanism. And then the solution, though, right, is really easy. It's really logically connected to the problem, right? It's like positioning myself as a middleman, someone who links buyers to sellers, provides huge valuable service to both sides, one that they'll be happy to pay a commission for. So it gets to work. And now we're going to get to like kind of like the product build up, right? He's not going to look for an out-of-the-box solution, but he's going to struggle and realize that it's flawed and he has to like create a more novel solution. He's going to start testing it, working on it. There's going to be problems and setbacks, but then there's going to be success and a breakthrough and proof that it works, and then product is going to be born, okay? So check it out. I made a list of more than 150 companies that specialize in buying overstocked or liquidated items. A few of them were big chains like Marshall's, but for the most part I focused on independent retailers, companies that didn't have a bunch of red bureaucratic tape, and where the owner of the business could give me a quick decision. Then I made another list of department stores, retailer chains, and manufacturers who might have overstocked or liquidation items, and I started emailing them, offering them to help them find a buyer. At first there wasn't much action, mostly because retailers I was sending my emails to simply didn't respond to me. I thought maybe I was wasting my time, and that the reason why they weren't responding was because I was just some no-name that they didn't know at all. But then I had another idea. Instead of emailing the full-price retailers and manufacturers, what if I just posted some ads online saying that I could sell all of their overstocked or liquidated items? It was worth a shot, so I made a list of 25 great websites where I knew that business owners were likely to go, and that allowed me to put my ads up for free, and suddenly it was as if I started an avalanche. Within hours, I was getting emails. See, I should have been like posted my ads, and then I posted my ads. But within hours, I was getting emails from retailers and manufacturers all over the world telling me that they had 3,000 designer handbags they couldn't sell, or 6,000 high-quality power drills, or 200 HDTVs that couldn't be moved off the sales floor. In all of those cases, they said they were desperate to find a buyer and asked if I could help them out. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. I simply took the emails from these full-price sellers, removed their contact information and business name, and forwarded them to my list of 150 closeout buyers, saying that I could connect the two of them for a small finder's fee. That was it. Within 30 days, I made more than $12,000. So, again, he kind of tries, it's not an out-of-the-box solution, but he does basically try to do it himself by doing a common sense solution. And he starts testing on it. At first, there are problems and setbacks, right? He's sending out emails to retailers, but they're not responding. But then he starts putting ads up, and he has this breakthrough. Proof that works is like a little weak, but I mean, he makes the $12,000 or whatever. It'd be great if you had screenshots of that or other proof elements. In a lot of ways, what I was doing was similar to what a real estate agent does when he connects a home seller to a home buyer. Except in this case, I didn't have to even go show the home or do any fancy legal paperwork or even leave my house. Plus, what's so brilliant about this model is that because you're forwarding real emails from the full-price retailers, emails where they say that they're looking to sell now, the closeout buyers already know that the deal is pretty much done. They don't need to do any work. They don't have to wonder if you're legit or not. They simply just decide if they want to make the purchase and ask you to connect them. And as the months continued to pass by, the cash was just pouring into my bank account. $12,242 in month 1, $10,765 in month 2, $14,788 in month 3, $10,199 in month 4, $18,992 in month 5, and on it went. In fact, since I first started applying the secret principle of arbitrage to the world of closeout buying and selling, not a single month has gone by where I haven't made at least $10,000, and I have to tell you that the feeling of pure happiness I now experience each day is incredible. I love the fact that I'm able to buy my wife and children the things they've always so badly wanted, that I can take my family to Disney World 4 times a year without even looking at my bank balance, and that I was able to take my wife to Paris on the vacation of dreams and do it without having to pinch a single penny. I also love that I was able to quit the job I hated within my first 2 months of using this little closeout system I developed, that I have all the time in the world to spend with the ones who I hold dearest to me, that I can wake up and go to bed on my own schedule each night, and that when I do return to the golf course now, it's to play 18 holes on a Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m., not to labor away in the hot sun. And I love the security of knowing I now have more than $425,000 sitting in my retirement account, with more coming in each and every month, which means my family will be safe and taken care of no matter what happens to me, no matter what unforeseen events arise in the future. Now, I want you to experience all of this too. I want you to love your life, every single moment of it, and to never again worry about whether or not you have enough for retirement. Never again be anxious about eating out at that nice restaurant your spouse has been dying to try. Never again feel depressed on a Sunday evening because you know that tomorrow morning you have to wake up and drive to your soul-sucking 9 to 5, which is why, without further ado, let me introduce you to instant closeout profits. So, okay, we don't have others asking for it. Instead, we kind of do a bunch of future pay, a little bit of future pacing and dimensionalized benefits and painting a picture of what life would look like if they also had the same results that he was having. And then, at this case, product is born, brings us into the close. Right, starting with the product details, what's included, what makes it special, unique selling proposition, dismissing alternatives, building up the value of the product, additional testimonials, how to use the product maybe. We'll see. I can't remember. I haven't looked at this in advance, so I'm going to go through it with you. Urgency, scarcity, his personal mission to make life better, price justification and reveal, right? Other things are more expensive and costly. This solution is better. It's normally X, but right now you can get it for Y. We're not going to have a smart people buy more, I can tell you, because it's an info product. We're going to have a call to action. Hopefully we'll have a what happens after you click the button. I don't think there are bonuses in this one, but they would, go there. Guarantee we will have for sure. Another call to action. Probably we'll have the 2 choices. Any more urgency potentially. Another call to action, and then a thank you. So let's see. Right. Inside of Instant Closeout Profits, you'll be shown how to use the exact same system I use to net massive profits each month as a middleman between buyers and sellers. So again, right now we're at what's included, what makes it special, all of that. Kind of how to use the product too, as you'll see. Total, all you need to get started is internet access, an email account, and 5 hours per week of your time. And starting tomorrow, you could be making at least $3,000 per month using this. There's no catch, no hidden costs, no anything. Instead, with Instant Closeout Profits, you're given a complete step-by-step system you can use to explode your income right from the comfort of your own home. And inside, I'll show you how to write simple 1-paragraph ads that can be placed all over the web and that will have retailers and manufacturers instantly contacting you, begging you to help them find a buyer for their overstocked or liquidation products. Plus, I'll give you a list of my 25 best websites for posting these ads, all of which allow you to put them up absolutely free. Then once you have sellers flooding your inbox asking for help, all you have to do is send out an email to the 150 closeout retailers that I give you inside Instant Closeout Profits. Many of these companies sell a wide variety of products to the public, but to make things even easier for you, I've also segmented this list of sellers into different categories like clothing discounters, hardware discounters, online discounters, electronics discounters, etc. Over 90% of the 150 closeout retailers are independently owned and operated, which means you'll be speaking directly to one of their chief decision makers, someone who has the power to say yes after your very first email. And speaking of yes, don't worry, you're provided a contact email for each of the 150 closeout retailers included on the list. And to make things even simpler, still, inside Instant Closeout Profits, I'll also tell you exactly what you should say inside of the email you send to potential buyers. You also see how to avoid the 12 common pitfalls that most people who are new to closeout brokering always make, including the one I already gave you earlier, which is make sure you delete the contact information of the seller before you forward the email to the buyer. That one's huge because you don't want the buyer to go around you and make the deal without paying you a commission. And if you think that one pitfall is good to know, wait until you see the other 11. Plus, I'll also show you exactly how to negotiate your deal as a broker. You'll see how to make sure you maximize your profits, get the commission you deserve, and do it without spending hours of your precious time or hiring any expensive lawyers. And I'll hand you the 7 questions you must ask every retailer or manufacturer that contacts you before completing the deal. So, again, product details, yep. And also how to use the product, yep. But it's very clear. I'm not exactly sure why I did these as all bullet points, to be honest with you. But obviously this is pretty good. Let me pause this because I want to finish this and I've got a call, but I'm going to push it back 10 minutes. 1 second. Okay. Now let me be upfront with you. Sometimes if I'm working on a really big deal, I do put in 10 or 12 hours in a single week. The overwhelming majority of the time, however, I'm just spending about 5 hours per week in front of my computer and making more than $10,000 in income by simply reading and forwarding emails between buyers and sellers. I know it sounds almost too easy, but think about it. Every time you turn on the TV, listen to the radio, flip through the paper, or even just drive around your town, you see discount stores, liquidation sales, and signs saying everything must go. You know that this is happening constantly every single day, that full-price retailers are selling their overstocked or liquidation items to discount retailers, that discount retailers are selling these overstocked or liquidated items to the public. So why wouldn't you get in on a piece of the action? As you watch this, more than 14,000 ordinary folks from across America have done just that. They've begun leveraging the principles of arbitrage and applying them to the world of closeout buying, earning $3,000, $7,000, $12,000 per month while they do it. Folks like Jim Curtis of Springfield, Missouri, who writes, so here what we're doing is we are continuing to build up the value of the product as far as and from a believability standpoint, and also the ease of use, the time saving, all that kind of stuff. And then we are doing the additional testimonials here. So we didn't discuss and dismiss alternatives yet. We did build up value and then just testimonials. But Jim Curtis, who says, I've been burned on promises of making money from home in the past, but as I watched your video, it became clear that this was something different. The business model made sense, so I decided to go ahead and give instant closeout profits a try. From the very first moment of using the system, I was incredibly impressed. The amount of information is comprehensive, but doesn't feel at all overwhelming. I was also extremely pleased to find that everything you had promised I would receive was indeed included, so I was able to actually start posting my free ads within minutes. Most of all, however, I've been pleased with the amount of money I'm making now. I bought in $4,600 in my very first month, and the 5 months since I've averaged just over $7,400. Thank you, Garth. This is life-changing. And Jim Mack of Temple, Texas, who says, I know in your presentation you make a point of saying you weren't struggling desperately, just tired of living on a budget. Well, that wasn't the case for me. I was struggling bad. Every month the anxiety built up even more. I didn't know if I'd be able to make my car payment or if my power was going to be shut off. I was desperate for a solution and didn't know where to turn or what to do. So when I found your video, the decision to try out the instant closeout profit system was a complete no-brainer. What did I have to lose? It's been a lifesaver, Garth. I'm now making more in a month than I used to make in half a year. Granted, I put about 15 hours per week into this, but for me personally, it's worthwhile trade-off for the $27,000 per month I'm now averaging. Or Lindsay Moeller of Lexington, Kentucky, who writes, I just can't believe how easy all this is. It's so easy. So easy that you almost have to pinch yourself to make sure it's real. I never would have dreamed that simply posting some ads and sending a few emails each week would result in me making $6,300 per month in pure profit. Instant closeout profits is a godsend, Garth. Thank you. I am so pleased and proud to see that the stories like the ones you just heard are incredibly common these days. Across the country and the world, people are making real life-changing money using instant closeout profits, and by now you're probably wondering what it will take to get started. Remember, there is no such thing as making money without work. That doesn't mean you can't work smarter rather than harder, and that's what instant closeout profits is all about. Your typical deal using the step-by-step system you're about to get your hands on will look like this. A retailer will respond to one of your free ads you post online, tell you they have $50,000 worth of name brand hardware supplies they haven't been able to sell. You forward their email to one of the 150 closeout buyers on the list and say exactly what I tell you inside this guide. The closeout buyer says they'll buy the hardware for $25,000 and give you a 20% commission. The seller agrees and the deal gets done. The closeout buyer mails you a check or sends you a money wire for $5,000. That's it, and that's just one deal that took you about an hour of your time to put together. There's simply no easier way to make a four or five figure income each and every month. Because of that, I originally planned on charging $500 for access to instant closeout profits. I figured that's what those work from home BS artists price their stuff at, and unlike all that garbage you see out there on the internet, this actually works. So I guess you've got here a little bit of this. We didn't really go deep on dismissing the alternatives here. Maybe we should have. We had keeping building up the value. We had the additional testimonials. We had how to use the product. We don't have an urgency or scarcity here right now, but we do have the personal mission coming up here right now. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that getting instant closeout profits into your hands wasn't really about money for me. I'm making more than enough money simply using the system, so why be greedy? Especially when I can still feel this thing of watching my wife cry after one of our fights about money, and I can still remember that sense of dread that used to come over me every Monday morning when I realized I had a full week of work that I hated coming up and no other options. You see, getting instant closeout profits into your hands is about much more than just the tons of cash you're going to make. It's about giving you ultimate unrestricted freedom. The freedom to live life as you choose on your terms while being the provider and protector of all those you love. And given all of that, there's simply no way I'm going to ask you to shell out nearly $500,000 for this system, no matter how sincerely I think it's worth it. Instead, and only factor right now, while this website is still online, you're going to be given instant and unrestricted access to the entire instant closeout profit system, the 25 websites to advertise on, the list of 150 closeout buyers, the explicit, easy-to-follow instructions detailing exactly what to say, what to do, and how to do it, the guide to negotiating the fat commissions you deserve without even breaking a sweat for just $97. That's less than it costs to even register a new LLC on LegalZoom, And you don't even need to start a company to use this because it's just you with no employees or inventory. So go ahead and get started on your new life immediately by clicking the yellow button you see below this video right now. Once you do that, you'll be taken to my secure checkout page where you'll enter your order details. Then as soon as you're finished, you'll be taken to a special partners only page I've set up where you'll be given instant access to the entire Instant Closeout Profits program. From the partners only page, you'll be able to review everything, the lists, the guides, the simple steps, right from your computer, phone, or tablet. Plus you can download everything or print out as many copies as you want. Okay, so we didn't have any scarcity yet. But we definitely had a good personal mission and was tied to emotion, the emotion of feeling like a failure, of things being crappy and all of that. We did kind of have a bit of the price justification, not a ton, but basically how, work at home people are charging more, and, this is going to save you so much more than just time and money. And we had the solution is better, right? It'll save you money. It's normally X for I get for Y. We don't have a smart people buy more. We do have the first call to action, right? Which was to click the button and what do we have here? Yeah, by clicking the yellow button you see right below the video. And we told them exactly what's going to happen after they click the button, right? You'll be taken to the secure checkout page. Once you order it, you'll get instant access. You'll be able to access everything from your computer, phone, or tablet. You can download and print out as many copies as you want. So, all that stuff. No bonuses for this one. We had what happens after you click the button. No bonuses. So what about the guarantee? And on top of all that, your decision today to ditch your day job, secure your retirement, and make more money per month than you ever have in your life comes with one more big perk, which is my 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Here's how that works. Right now, you only have to take a test run of Instant Closeout Profits. You do that by clicking the yellow button you see below this video and completing your order. Then enjoy your instant access to the entire system, start following the easy steps I provided you with, and agree to commit 5 hours per week to your new investment for the next 30 days. Do this so you can be making $3,000 in profits your very first month, and if for any reason you don't, or even if you just make $2,000 and you want to make $3,200, simply send an email to the address I give you inside of the partners only area, and I will refund your entire investment with 0 questions asked. I don't think that will happen because it's virtually impossible to not make money with Instant Closeout Profits, but I don't want you to even hesitate for a second here, especially because I've seen firsthand how profitable the system can be. So go ahead and get started now with your 60-day 100% risk-free money-back guarantee by clicking the yellow button you see below this video right now. Okay, so perfect. So that was the guarantee, right? You should have a great experience, but if you don't, you get a refund, no risk, no hassle, and we have the second call to action. And now what are we going to do? We're going to do the 2 choices, right? The crossroads. And a little bit of urgency, right? You got to act fast. We have this sort of before these two are going to be flipped, the 2 choices and the urgency. Right, this presentation is almost finished and the choice is yours. You could let it end and then just leave this website and go on with your day. If you do that, more power to you. It's your life, my friend. But before you do, just think about it for a second. What will change if you don't take action today? Are you planning on getting a new raise in the next year that will double or triple your income? Are you completely and utterly financially secure with a fat retirement account that you know will get you through the next 20, 30, or even 40 years? Is an extra $3,000, $7,000, or $10,000 in monthly income something you really don't care about? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then you owe it to yourself to take advantage of this risk-free offer that's right in front of you. So get started now by clicking the yellow button you see right below this video screen, and I'll meet up with you in the partners only section of the site in a moment from now. Sincerely, Garth Conway, Jacksonville, Florida. So, urgency presentation was ending, right? We didn't talk about anything about time frame stuff, which I could have. I think that would have made the conversions better. But there wasn't a scarcity or urgency. But we did give them 2 choices, right? You cannot take action, or you can take action and change your life. We had the final call to action, and you have, the thank you for watching, or in this case, sincerely, Garth Conway, Jacksonville, Florida. And now the final part is going to be the FAQs, right? We're back to being their friend, asking them questions, reminding them about stuff. So yeah, that, hey, you still here? I bet you have a couple of questions, right? No problem at all. You're not the first person to experience a sense of mind-racing excitement after watching this presentation. So to help you out, let me go ahead and answer some of the most common questions I get asked right here and now. And then we have 5 questions. How much money can I expect to make using Instant Closeout Profits? How much time will I really need to put into using this system? How exactly does the system work again? What are the terms of the guarantee again? How do I get started? So really, we're just trying to cover the big points here of what's going to happen if somebody just was watching but zoned out or missed part of it. We want to just be able to answer any questions that are important and maybe keeping them from buying. So, one of them is how much money would I really make, right? How much effort would I really need to put into this? how does it work again, right? That's a big one. What are the terms of the guarantee? How can I get started? Those are some of the biggest ones there. There's probably other ones like, is this a scam or does it really work? Maybe it was one I could have put in, or is this a physical product or a digital product? Other ones, but overall, I think that these covers the big ones. So, with that being said, we just went through the sales letter, and as you can see, does it follow every single part of this outline? No, not every letter you write is going to have every single piece of this, but generally, this did follow the structure very closely, right? Which makes sense because I developed this structure as I was writing sales letters like this. So I am going to show you another sales letter soon. And, well, for you really soon. I've got to jump off and get on a call for my call center right now. But you'll do a health one probably next, and then we'll go from there and see if I want to do another one after. But I think this should really help you as far as the structure of a sales letter and for you to figure out what you're doing as well. Because, again, it's really a paint-by-numbers approach, right? So hopefully, you found this helpful.